Welcome to chapter 10 of the book of Job. Job claims his innocence. I'll read a little Greek, and then we'll go into the chapter. Kam non te psyche mu stenon epaphiso ep imavto tarimata mu. Laliso pikria psychis mu synachomenos. Being weary in my soul, in moaning, I will let loose upon myself my sayings. He's in pain. If you're in a lot of pain, he had pus and boils all over, a lot of problems, probably thought he was dying as an old man, and I think he was like 140. You think, well, this is it, and you're in a terrible shape. It doesn't help your situation any by complaining, but it's pretty much the way man does things. Got a fly running around here. Hope he gets out of here. I will speak in the bitterness of my soul, being constrained. He is complaining to God that he's bitter and has to release it somehow, but he's constrained. He doesn't want to do the wrong thing. Complaining to God too much, that's not a good thing to do either. And yet God accepts our complaints, I believe. At least it shows that we believe in him and we think of him, that he can do something about it, rather than someone that doesn't know God just thinks it's a futile effort to talk to anybody when they're in this type of position. And I will say to the Lord, teach me not to be impious. I don't want to say the wrong thing. And why have you judged me so? So he's seeing, he doesn't want to say the wrong thing, and he doesn't understand what's going on with Satan and God. Or is it good to you that I should transgress, that I should forbid the works of your hands? And then he's more or less saying, well, being in this position, I could end up doing the wrong thing, saying the wrong thing. I suppose if you're on a deathbed, and you start complaining to God, and you realize this is not the right thing to do, then you're kind of like, well, I really don't want to do that, but I'm such a miserable condition, I can't hardly help myself. And did you heed the counsel of impious ones? You listen to the impious ones, but are you not listening to me, God? I'm walking with you, doing the things that you would have me to do. Or, as a mortal sees, do you look? Or as a man sees, shall you see? A mortal, from what I gather, is someone that's alive, and immortal means he could live forever, and a mortal dies. And or as a mortal sees somebody that's going to die, do you look? And as a man sees, shall you see? Or your existence, is it mankind? If you lived like a man, you're God. But yet, yes, he does. Jesus came as a man and took human form and experienced lived in his 30s. The experience of mankind was suffering and pain and all sorts of things, and tempted and tested. Or are your years a man's years? I have it underlined because andros, I'm not sure about that one, the spelling, Greek spelling. For you searched out my lawlessnesses, and you traced my sins. And I saw that. Does God keep a record of our sins? Well, it sounds like he does. You trace my sins. He sees what's going out. We do have the book of life, and the things that we have done were written in the book of life, it says. So apparently, God does keep track of each one of us. which he'll pull out probably at the judgment. For I know that I did not act impious, but who is the one rescuing from out of your hand? If you think I'm impious, then there's nothing I can do about it. Your hands shaped me and made me. In Genesis 2:7, it says, And God shaped man, taking dust from the earth, and breathed into his face breath of life, and man became a living soul. So he was shaped by God. Then it says, After these things in turning, you smote me. And we see being smitten, hit, struck in Luke 22:64. With Jesus, it says, And having covered him up, they beat his face and asked him, saying, Prophesy, who is the one hitting you or smiting you? It would be another word for that Greek word. Remember that you shaped me of clay, which we just read, and you unto the earth, again you returned me. We go back to ashes or into the dirt. Or did you not extract me as milk and curdled me equal to cheese? I was squeezing him. Didn't you? You squeezed me, and it's like, wow, it's not easy to go through this life being squeezed. But skin and meat you put on me, and bones and nerves you entwined me. God made us. That's pretty amazing that God did make us, and here Job sees the creation of what God has done, even though it's not the book of Genesis, where Moses had another, I don't know what you would call it, probably a oral tradition of the beginnings of man and sin and so forth. But yet Job here sees the creation, how we're created, and he says, and life and mercy you put upon me. So we're given the breath of life, pneuma, and of your overseeing you guarded my spirit. And I was just talking to a lady yesterday who is a Buddhist, and we're talking about how I was mentioning how she said, well, do you eat animals? And I said, well, yes. She said, well, don't you find something wrong with eating animals? And don't they have life? And I said, yes, but they don't have the Spirit of God in them. They're not made in the image of God. They're creatures that are made to be, maybe not originally, to be eaten, but after the fall, definitely there are sacrifices and so forth. And God said the blood, that without the shedding of blood, there's no forgiveness of sins, which Jesus fulfilled. And it continues in 13, having these things in yourself, I know that you're able to do all things. And not one thing is impossible with you. God can do it all. For if I should sin, you guard me. You see it, you watch out. And from lawlessness, you have not appointed me innocent, or it could be, have you not appointed me innocent, as a question mark, I suppose. So I kind of think the second part fits a little bit better, but I'm not sure. For if I should be impious, alas, but if I might be just, I'm not able to lift up the head. If I'm just, I can't do it. I'm in bad shape. I am full for I'm full of dishonor and terrible shape. God, I can't do anything, even if I'm just. You find me just. For I am caught as a lion for slaughter. I'm going to be maybe die this condition. And again, in turning, you destroy me awfully, blaming God for this situation that he's in. Renewing upon me my chastisement. And he feels like he's being chastised by God. And you dealt with me in great anger and brought trials against me. Well, he's not being chastised, he's being tested, but he got it right the third place. Not chastised, and he wasn't dealing with Job in anger. He wasn't angry with God. And a lot of times our tests don't mean we're angry. God is angry at us. He's trying to make us better by passing the test and instead of failing it. Now, King James calls it tempting, but the devil, he wants us to fail the test. But the word is the same. And pirazo, and here we've got a pirateria, a condition of trials or testing, a condition. Why then in the belly, and it goes back to where he started off in the beginning, why in the belly did you lead me out, and I did not die? Then an eye did not see me, and that I became as if one not being. For why? From out of, was I not dismissed from out of the womb unto the womb, a tomb? Or is the time of my existence a little? Allow me to rest a little before my going from where I shall not return unto a land dark and dim, unto a land of eternal darkness, where there is not brightness, nor seeing the life of mortals. Well, now he's saying from going into this place that's dark and dim, eternal darkness, Ioniu. And we see this, people are walking in darkness in many places in the New Testament, that you're walking in darkness right now, and where you go, if it was in Hades, it's not going to be a whole lot different. It says in Matthew 8:12, but the sons of the kingdom, Jesus says, will be cast out into the outer darkness. There will be the weeping and gnashing of teeth. So it's not going to be a pleasant experience in the outer darkness. And people that's living in darkness now, that's where they're going. In Matthew 22:13, the parable of Jesus said, and then the king said to the servants, having bound his feet and hands, lift him and cast him into the outer darkness. There will be the weeping and the gnashing of teeth. Two instances that Jesus talks about this place, outer darkness. And then Peter in 2 Peter 2:17 says about these certain types of people in the assemblies, these are waterless springs, clouds being driven by a tempest, ones to whom the infernal region of darkness is kept into the eon. The infernal, I believe, is a Latin word, but it's one Greek word. And this infernal region of darkness, they're being kept into the eon. Now, here's where some people have a problem, because if they feel like if they're going to go into Hades, then they don't want to be there forever, eternally, or everlasting. They would rather have it just be one eon, a certain period of time, and they're going to get out. And this would probably be a good place that they would use to prove their point. And then also in Jude 1:13, wild waves of the sea foaming up their own shame, these people, wandering stars to whom the infernal region of darkness is being kept into the eon. Again, they could argue this, but I believe it's they're going to be in the infernal region, and then there's a second death. If that's the end of it there, I'm not really sure. But we, the Christians, not us, a little different. It says in 2 Corinthians 4:6, for God is the one having told light to radiate from out of darkness, who radiated in our hearts for the illumination of the knowledge of the glory of God in the person of Jesus Christ. God told the light to radiate from out of the darkness, walking in darkness, but now we radiate in the light of Jesus Christ through him. And Peter says in 1 Peter 2:9, but you are a chosen race. That's us, me and you, a royal priesthood, a holy nation set apart, a people for procurement. God wants us so that you should publish the virtues of the one calling you. We should tell everybody about God. What did he do? He called us where? From out of darkness into his wonderful light. So we need to tell people that are in the darkness that there is a calling for them to come out of darkness into his wonderful light through Jesus Christ. Chapter 11, now in the next person, the third friend, his name is Sophar, the Meneo. He claims Job's afflictions are deserved. Well, these three friends, aren't they something? We probably all have friends like that. They are relatives, maybe even spouses? No. Anyway, find out what Sophar has to say and spout out in chapter 11. Hope you join us in the next video seminar. Till then, God bless.